Evening. Hi. Hope you're all comfortable. Sorry about the seating arrangements, but we got you covered now and comfortable. It's a perfect night out tonight to remember and honor. You know, it's hard to believe that it was a year ago that I stood right here in the same spot and we dedicated to 47 heroes this monument. It's hard to still to believe that it was 11 years ago today that we have that Tuesday morning in the bright blue sunshine. You know, 11 years has given us a lot of time to think and reflect, think about the impacts, think about what it meant, what it's going to mean. When I talk about September 11th now, I don't use the word terrible day anymore. I did for a long time. I said a terrible day. And in dropping the word terrible, I'm not saying it wasn't a tragedy. We lost 2,000 plus Americans that morning. We've lost thousands more since. So it's a tragedy. It changed the world. But I think the way I've looked at it has changed as well. Because I look at what it did. It really brought us together as a country. And we all talk about it, we all said it, we've all read it, we've all heard it, but it really did. It taught us that we're a little tougher than I think we thought we were on September the 10th of 2001. I think that's true as well. And it also taught us about heroes and really what it means to be a hero. I'm not talking about a baseball slugger that gets 100 RBIs or a quarterback that throws the winning touchdown pass. We all need heroes like that, but I'm talking about the heroes that every day put on a uniform, put on a gun belt, turnout gear, put an M16 on their back, drive a Humvee, whatever they do, those heroes that do what they do because it's a service beyond themselves. I also realized the difference and the turning point between hero and heroism. You see, when you get that call and every hero puts a uniform on, knows someday, sometime, that call may come. And when you take a hero, and again, ladies and gentlemen, make no mistake, you look around, you wear one, you are a true hero in my eyes, and I'm sure all of us. But when that call comes, hero becomes heroic, a heroic act, and that is to answer that call and do what you have to do for people you don't even know. A year ago, there were 47 names. Today, there are 52. But I want you to join me today in remembering these heroes, the families of these heroes, and we celebrate them with the First Responders Memorial. We've got several speakers this evening, and it's a very special evening for me, and I know a lot of you as well. I first want to introduce a soldier who was commissioned in 1983, served in 4 areas in Iraq, served at the White House, the Pentagon, and many commands in between before he took over as the commanding general at Fort Jackson. Please welcome Brigadier General Brian T. Roberts.
Well, thank you very much, Tyler, for that kind introduction. Good evening, family and friends of South Carolina Midlands. Welcome to this evening's memoriam, and thank you very much for taking time out of your busy evening to be here as we celebrate this great day. This evening, we remember. We remember those nearly 3,000 men and women and children lost in the attacks of September 11th. We remember the thousands of first responders who died in 9/11, and those who are suffering from physical maladies thought to be caused by the toxins of Ground Zero. We remember those rescue workers who rushed to the scene, the firefighters who charged the stairs, those patriots who defined the very nature of courage. 9/11 changed more than the skyline of New York. The attack changed a generation of Americans, touching hearts and homes in South Carolina and across the nation. That today's destruction and devastation did not condemn this country. That destruction did not condemn this country. It did not condemn this country to a future filled with fear. As profound as it was, it did not break the soul or change the character of this nation. Instead, it showed that whether at home or away, the red, white, and blue will remain faithful to the ideals of humanity. It fortified Americans with pride and patriotism and created a spirit of service in the hearts of every generation. You see, unlike any other tragedy that we have had here in this nation, this one affected grandparents, it affected parents, it affected children, it affected every generation. It affected our American way of life. But we drive on because that's what we do. We drive on because that's who we are. I am humbled tonight to welcome you here as we honor and keep alive the memories of our first responders who have given their lives to service, and to share in the pain and the pride with the loved ones that they leave behind. We also recognize and thank all those first responders, and I see you over there, I see you over here, who unselfishly serve South Carolina and this great nation. On this solemn anniversary, let's remember those we lost. Let us reaffirm the values they stood for. And let us continue to say with confidence that no attack on our soil can change who we are. We are Americans, and we will continue to protect and preserve this country we love. In their name, thank you.
At this time, I'd ask you to stand if you can, please, for the presentation of colors by the White Knoll Navy Junior ROTC.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Eight-year-old Abigail Tam, by the way, ladies and gentlemen. If you please also remain standing for our national anthem sung by Dr. Richard Kelly. I don't know about you, that song gives me the chills every single time. Please be seated. You're going to hear a word tonight used a lot, and that's partnership. This memorial is built with a partnership of businesses, communities, citizens. Some gave money, some gave time, some gave resources. In some cases, folks gave all three, leading the charge with a sense of honor and duty that is instantly recognizable. This gentleman is going to lead us tonight in our invocation. Please welcome Dan Dennis. Ladies and gentlemen, bow your heads, please. Dear Heavenly Father, Creator of all men, we ask your blessings upon this solemn ceremony. Also on the families of the fallen and the men and the women we honor today who gave their lives for God, country, and their fellow man. Give us strength to endure. Give us hope for the future. Give us courage to face our enemies. And never let us forget, you are always in control of our destiny and journey in life. Lord, comfort the families of the deceased. Let them know your love for them is everlasting, and remind them you are always with them. Keep the souls who have departed until we shall meet them again. God bless America. In your name we pray. Military Apache helicopters, and of course, Western County Sheriff's Office. For those of you who don't know our project founder, he's certainly a man of passion. I can tell you that. As many of us know, when he sinks his teeth into a project, no is not a word on his radar. Please welcome a good friend, not only to me, but quite honestly, a good friend of this country, Dan Hennigan.
How do you like the sound of freedom? On September 10th, 2009, I traveled to New York City with two White Knoll Middle School students who won an essay contest, 9/11 essay contest. That evening, in front of the Brooklyn Wall of Remembrance, were the 416 who died on that day, first responders. They read their one-page essay of what 9/11 meant to them. There was thousands of New Yorkers there. On September 7th, 2010, I took two firefighters to New York City with me. We met the leadership. We were escorted by FDNY to New York, to the JFK airport, where we were awarded the two steel beams behind me from the World Trade Center. On July 5th, 2011, we broke ground behind me. On September 11th, 2011, we unveiled this memorial. We unveiled it because we will never forget. I would like my committee team members to please stand. Without my committee team, this memorial may not have happened on time. I can assure you, going forward, and I hope and pray that we do not put another name on this memorial. But I promise you that we, my committee and I, will never forget. God bless you. God bless South Carolina. God bless America.
You probably heard the name of our next speaker. She's something of a face to our project, and at least that's how it relates to 9/11 in New York City. She lost her brother in Tower 1. He got up that morning, he went into work, and he didn't come home. She's our face, she's our strength. She really shows us the strength of 9/11 and what it meant for our country moving forward. Please welcome Ms. Dawn Young-Shur.
Good evening. I want to say thank you for everyone who's come out to see our memorial yet again. Last year I showed a picture of my brother in his military uniform, so this year I thought I would show his family picture. That's his oldest child in the picture. The youngest one didn't there just yet. But I would like to start off tonight by saying that I always get asked on 9/11, what does 9/11 mean to you? My connection is my brother was killed on 9/11, so when people start thinking about 9/11, my name and my face is the first thing they see, or they remember. And whenever I get asked every year, I have to try to come up with some kind of an answer because they don't want to hear what I heard last year. And this morning when I was starting to think about what I was going to say tonight, I kind of struggled with it and had a lot of visions in my mind, but what I didn't really know what I was going to say until just now. When I think of 9/11, I want to say that I think of America. I think of all of you who have come out here to support the memorial, and all of you first responders who've come out to support those that we've lost this past year. And it is something that we're very thrilled that you're here and that you're supporting us as well as the memorial. You'll hear a lot of stories today about heroes, and honestly, I kind of didn't know quite what to think and how to put in terms of my brother. He was not a hero on that day. He went to work, the towers were hit, and he got stuck. He couldn't get down, and he really couldn't save anybody, he couldn't save himself. So when people keep saying about heroes of the day, I kind of felt a little sad because my brother wasn't a hero. He was actually the one who was killed and didn't get away. When I had talked this over with my sister-in-law, his wife that he left behind, she had said that she had a very different answer about Brian being a hero. She had she said basically that, I feel like he was an ordinary guy trapped in an extraordinary situation. And what she told me was that my brother was a hero. He might not have been able to save anybody that day. He might not have been able to get himself out of a situation that he found himself in that day. But when his son thinks of his daddy, he says, that's my hero. He said he worked right alongside with him. He had his little pack of tools. Whenever my brother would put up a ceiling fan, he'd be right up there with him. So she says, it's not exactly what you do when you die to become a hero. It is really how you live your life. And I feel that we can all be heroes in that sense. And I would like to thank all of the heroes that are here today who dress up in uniform and go out and fight the good fight that we appreciate that for. And also, just want to let you know that we really do appreciate all of the firefighters, the policemen, the EMS, everyone who's here from Fort Jackson. We really do appreciate that. 9/11, I would like to close with this. 9/11 brings us all together to thank those who have given their lives for this country. We honor those who've given the ultimate sacrifice. But this memorial is also meant to remember the fallen. We don't want to just honor those that have lost their lives since 9/11 and in the first responders sense. We also want to remember that more than several thousand innocent lives were lost that day. Just as the towers and the monument have fallen, we are to never forget the fallen. Thank you.
A few moments ago, we talked about a memorial being built for the partnership. Again, 15 companies, countless citizens, and the leaders of Lexington and Richland counties, and of course, the city of Columbia. And this time I want to recognize Lexington Mayor Randy Halfaker and Columbia Mayor Steve Benjamin, without whom this project would not have been the success that it is. Gentlemen, please join me up here.
I want to thank all of you for being here on this somber occasion to recognize what President Lincoln called those who gave the last full measure of devotion, whether willingly or unwillingly, in defense of the American way of life. When I stand in front of this first responders memorial, I think of one of my favorite verses from the book of Isaiah. The heavens had opened up for Isaiah with a vision of terrible majesty. The full host of angels of God himself stood before him. He was awestruck and frightened. You see, Isaiah was a sinner, just like the rest of us. Small, insignificant, and imperfect before the full glory of heaven. He was terrified and shaken. But when the Lord asked, "Whom shall I send? Who will go for us?" Isaiah gathered his strength to stand and said, "I will. Here am I, Lord. Send me." We came together from Lexington, Irma, Richland County, and Columbia to help build this memorial so that years from now, future generations could learn its legacy of service and sacrifice, to save our children and grandchildren. These men and women believed in something higher than themselves and put their own lives on the line in defense of that belief. We built this memorial to stand here today and say thank you to each and every one of you who sacrificed so much for us, and those of you who continue to sacrifice for us. To answer the call and stare in the face of fear itself, step forward and say, "Here I am, Lord, send me."
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. It's a pleasure for me to join you up here on the podium. We've had a fantastic relationship over the last probably 3 years now. And you know, you can look at us. I'm kind of a folksy guy. Most of you know me. I am. You can look at us and we've been referred to as salt and pepper. You know what? If you don't have salt and pepper, you really can't season where those recipes become alive. Okay? So we have used that salt and pepper to create what we think is a tremendous partnership recipe here in the Midlands, Lexington County, as well as Richland County, as well as the city of Columbia, as well as the town of Lexington. It all started when Steve got elected and we started working together from a governmental perspective. But it is morphed out, and we've also brought in commerce now. I see Ike McLeese out there, president of the Greater Columbia Chamber of Commerce. We have worked on building partnerships with the commerce and the greater footprint of the mid-state area. But if you don't build partnerships, y'all, you can't get the way you want to get to, okay? And I guess one of the epitome of our partnership is what is right here. And I want to thank the first responder families for your service. I want to thank the Brigadier General Roberts We had a partnership function, the first time ever in Lexington, a couple of months back, and we invited the Fort Jackson leaders over to tell you thank you. We're part of the community. We're part of you, Brian. But it's a great partnership, and we like to have a little fun. But I know this is a very solemn ceremony, rightfully so. But I truly am honored to be on the stage with the mayor of the capital city of South Carolina, and my good friend Stephen Benton. Thank you.
This memorial is about heroes, those heroes who gave everything. It's also about the families that are left behind not only in tears and memories, but families with extreme pride for their hero. And this time we have a special presentation for these families from the Indian Waters and Georgia Carolina Council of the Boy Scout Troops of America. Special presentation. Thank you, gentlemen. One of the first people I met when I became involved in the project nearly 2 years ago was the Irma Fire Chief, Mike Sonnenfeld. And Chief Sonnenfeld, as I learned, has a tight connection with New York dating back 11 plus years when South Carolina replaced the ladder truck that was destroyed in the attacks. Since then, he's been involved every step of the way making this memorial happen. Please welcome Chief Mike Sonnenfeld.
Thank you, Tyler, and welcome everyone today. I'm here to introduce, and it's my distinct honor to introduce our keynote speaker for this evening's occasion. Major General Robert Livingston Jr. is our Adjutant General in South Carolina. General Livingston is also what I define as the definition of a citizen soldier. His career began in 1978. He has served from Arlington to Joint Command in Afghanistan. He's also steadily rose to become the highest ranking soldier in the South Carolina National Guard. While doing that, he is also the Chief Executive Officer of a highly respected corporation in the Midlands. He's also a family man. As a community leader, General Livingston was responsible and part of this project since its groundbreaking. Part of what makes him special and part of our keynote tonight is he understands sacrifice. He understands service before self. And most importantly, he knows that remembrance and family is the most important thing, and that's why we're here tonight. And it is my pleasure to introduce General Livingston. Can you please come up?
Thank you, Chief. What a beautiful day. In fact, quite frankly, it's kind of reminiscent of the day 11 years ago. Most of y'all remember that day. Some of you young ones weren't born yet, so that's the reason I think most of you. Everybody that was here remembers that day. And you know, it's interesting, people have talked about how the event of 9/11 was such a unifying event, and Mayor Halfacre and Mayor Benjamin talked about the cities and the counties coming together and unifying. It's great that an event that happened 11 years ago unifies a city and an area, 4 or 5 years ago. So it's an event that truly has defined our great nation. And speaking of defining our great nation, how about this band, the Patriot Guard, and everybody that was involved with this event? Aren't they wonderful? Thank you for remembering. Today, as I mentioned, is almost like 9/11 11 years ago. Where were you on 9/11? I remember where I was, and I'm sure everybody else here remembers where they were. It's kind of like the greatest generation. They will tell you where they were on Pearl Harbor Day. I was at my company over in 5 Points, going about a normal day. I'm in the National Guard, and we had just finished a rotation out to the National Training Center, and we were prepared to do whatever our nation needed us to do. We had no idea how close that requirement was that day. Somebody comes down to me later on, or early that morning, and says, you know, one of the towers has been struck. I said, nah, you know, you got rumors out there. But we pulled the TV out and started watching it, and the events unfolded. And that changed all of our lives forever. I became a lot more focused on the military, although I had always been focused on the military. I became a lot more focused on that day versus what I normally did as far as guiding a company and taking care of a family. But a lot of lives were changed even more than mine or yours. Some of the families across on the front row have experienced that change. A change that we have a hard time, the rest of us, even though we have dedicated our lives to defending our country and responding to this event, we still cannot identify those tragic losses of our families. The victims on American Airlines 11 and United 175 that crashed into the towers, and American Airlines 77 that crashed into the Pentagon. Those victims and heroes in the towers and the Pentagon. And Don, I love your definition of a hero. It is what we do every day, not how we end our lives. Those heroes on Flight 93 that prevented the 4th jet from reaching its target. The over 3,000 immediate victims of 9/11. Of those, 411 were first responders. 343 from the New York Fire Department, 23 from the Police Department, 37 from the Port Authority, and 8 EMTs. But it doesn't stop there. Each year, nationwide, we lose over 100 firefighters. We lose over 160 policemen. In Iraq, we have lost almost 4,500. We have lost over 2,100 in Afghanistan, including over 80 from South Carolina and 16 from the South Carolina National Guard. The wounded, they number about 9 times the fallen. Because of our great medical system, we saved the lives of those who would be lost in past years. And our troops get top-notch care. In fact, is pleased to remind everyone that the government has taken a great step forward to help those who have gotten illnesses from responding to the towers just yesterday. What a great event there. And those heroes, they all have families behind them. So multiply that by about 20 per hero. And you got tremendous people that understand the meaning of sacrifice. And as I am humbled to visit some of these families, they take tragic events and turn them into positive things, much like a microcosm of our great nation. Let's give them all a round of applause, please. We all remember 9/11, but do you remember the day after It was strange, no airplanes. And you really don't think about airplanes a lot, but our great heroes cleared the skies to make sure no other events would happen. The mood of our country, shocked, devastated. And it reminds me of a great soldier in Afghanistan when we just had our recent losses. And his quote was, "We are stunned, but we're proud to be soldiers." And our country was stunned there for a moment, but we were proud to be Americans. And we slowly recovered, much faster than our enemy ever thought we would. Maybe slow for us, but fast for the rest of the world. We pulled together as one. We didn't bicker, and we responded. We wrapped our arms around our families. We wrapped our arms around the injured. And then we went forth and made sure that this would not happen again to our great country. This memorial is an extraordinary reminder of that day. But even more, it is an extraordinary reminder of the response to that day. Dan explained to me some of the great symbolism behind it. And we have the tops that are fallen off the spires that indicate that are fallen, and we will never forget them. But the spires are still standing, and they're made of great South Carolina granite. Strong, never yielding. And then the beams. They may be twisted, but they're twisted together, showing the great unity throughout our great country in response to tragedy. This memorial reminds us about who we are. It reminds us that freedom is not free, and that there are those who will continue to threaten our freedom. It reminds us of how we unite, all the way from the battlefields to the first responders to those who go on an afternoon to give blood because they care, because of the way they live their lives. I ask that you remember 9/11, that you remember those who were victims, those who are heroes, and those who are heroes since. But I ask also that you remember the days after 9/11 and the way our great country united, stood strong, and responded as we always do. This great United States of America that has never been duplicated in the history of the world. What a wonderful place. May God bless our first responders, our military, our fallen, you, our wonderful state of South Carolina, and the great nation of the United States. Thank you, and it's an honor to be with you.
Ladies and gentlemen, we now pay solemn tribute to our fallen heroes, for they have paid the ultimate sacrifice in defense of our nation, our state, and our communities. We honor them here today. They deserve nothing less. detail. I came, who? Sound off.
Sergeant John J.D. D. Better, 2nd, 20 June 2012, 133rd Infantry Company, South Carolina Army National Guard.
Lieutenant Ryan D. Ross, 20 June 2012, 133rd MP Company, South Carolina National Guard. Master Public Safety Officer Edward Scott Richardson, December 21st, 2011, Aiken, Department of Public Safety, Aiken, South Carolina.
Master Corporal Sandra E. Rogers, January 28, 2012, Aiken Department of Public Safety, Aiken, South Carolina.
Deputy K-9 Fargo, Richland County Sheriff's Department, 16 December 2011.
On guard! I came, who?
If you're a family member who would express desire to present the wreath, please step forward. After the ceremony, everyone will have a chance to come up and remember with the wreath.
On guard! He said, who?
year ago I stood here, 47 names on these towers, and I said, I pray to God that we will not add 48. But I think we all knew, everyone who was here, everyone who heard those words, including myself, knew that that wasn't true. Because as long as there are men and women who put a uniform on of any color, any gear, and do whatever it is to serve the rest of us, that call is going to come. That's the truth. That call is going to come. But there's a couple other truths along with that. The truth is, when that hero puts on his uniform and kisses his daughter as he walks up the door and says, honey, I'll pick you up to soccer practice tonight. And somewhere between that kiss and that soccer practice, that call comes. The truth is, he's going to answer that call. He's not going to want to. But the truth is, he's going to. And he's going to go from that hero to heroic. The other fundamental truth that you can always count on, and you men and women who are in uniform today, and your families, we will always be in your service, in your debt. We'll always be here to say thank you. And the truth is, we will never, ever forget. Be safe. God bless you, your families, the state of South Carolina, and God bless the United States of America. Thank you.
Oh, God.